So I'm very happy to be here with you today virtually. I'm about 16,000 kilometers away, but I will try to tell you a little bit about facilities management in the context of digital engineering, or digital engineering in the context of facilities management. Before that can happen, I will give you a bit of an introduction to our company. I'm working for a global engineering consulting company. We have about 800 people, and we have a couple of locations. Only one in Europe. We have a small Oxford office. We are fairly strong on the US market and in Australia and New Zealand. And we have a life cycle approach to everything that we do normally. So we provide digital engineering consultancy services, but we like to be involved from cradle to grave, from the very beginning, inception of a project, planning, spatial programming, design, construction, and then at the end, asset handover to operations and maintenance. And we do more and more in that later phases of the project. Whatever we do is normally model-based. As you probably have heard a couple of people, if you visit conferences, talking to you about BIM or digital engineering. I will not attempt to go into the theory side of things. I will just try to show you a couple of case studies instead. But still, we build virtual models, we put them together, federate them, and use them for various data-driven decision-making solutions. And visual reporting is quite an important part of what we do. You're probably, like, everything now has a dashboard to help you to understand data better. So you're probably familiar with Tableau and Power BI and similar solutions to slice and dice your data. In addition to that, what we provide is in-model reporting. So in the models, we can color code the model based on various attributes that the model holds. And I will give you a couple of examples as well, just to show you the sort of a scale of what we do. We were involved in Google Campus, Apple Campus, so fairly large projects around the world, and just here locally in Australia. The two projects that I specifically want to mention are the Queen's Wharf. That's a $3.6 billion integrated resort development in the middle of Brisbane City. And the other one is a somewhat smaller project, the International Cruise Terminal in Brisbane, that has been completed and handed over to basically non-operation about 2 months ago, because nobody really jumps on cruises anymore. But hopefully we will live through this COVID period, and we will get back to normal at some point. First, I want to talk to you a little bit about BIM as an enabler for facilities management, and I want to show you how we normally deliver projects. So this video shows you how buildings can be designed and constructed using 3D models. This is one of our oil and gas facilities down in Western Australia, and this shows you how ideally nowadays drawings are generated from the 3D models in the first place. So by the end of a capital works project, you normally will have a virtual model of a building, a virtual model of services, a virtual model of your assets as well. Normally, because that's how designers operate. That's how they will come up with their drawings nowadays to save them time in documentation. But as a sort of a side product, you also have a digital asset that can then be color coded for various purposes, for operations as well, and interrogated for all the data that it can host. So if you look at this example, we have that asset highlighted. We can click that asset in the model. It can give us all the rich data that has been produced during design and construction, and it can also host hyperlinks to all the all the documents, not only drawings, but O&Ms, warranties, whatever is collected during commissioning and asset handover, that can all be sort of driven by a model-based workflow. And once we get into the operations phase, same facility, this is an IBM Maximo case study. We have an asset database in Maximo. We are in Maximo now. We click on an asset and it can take us to the model and show us that asset in the model. And that asset, again, can be interrogated and can show us all the information that we will need to see. These can be model properties or just properties in Maximo with a link between the asset in the model and the database. But they can be, have all the usual assets that you will need for maintenance. It can give you information about the make and model of the actual asset or the maintenance provider, or it can give you the warranty information or when it was installed, and then it can drive all your sort of more sophisticated facilities management tasks like asset lifecycle modeling or criticality, condition assessments and whatnot, as well as services. It also shows you the sort of the context for that actual asset. It can highlight your system that it's connected to. If it's an asset connected to various systems, it can show you which switchboard you need to go to switch off power if you need to service that asset. So that sort of information can be available to you in a 3D environment. And if we jump to Queen's Wharf, just a quick overview of this project. This is an integrated resort development. As I said, it covers about 10% of Brisbane's CBD. It has some hospitality functions, hotels, residential functions, entertainment functions, and a rich connection to the existing urban context, including foreshore development and public realm areas as well. It's quite huge. I don't want to go through all these metrics because I have a very short time, but the important bit is the last line here. The project is being developed by Destination Brisbane Consortium and the Star Entertainment Group, and they are actually the owner-operators as well for this facility. So they are not only in charge of the design and construction, sort of the capital works delivery phase of the project, but they will be in charge of the operations, and that gave us the luxury to have very sophisticated asset information requirements at the very beginning of the project. And then we drafted technology maps to make sure that the way we actually deliver this project feeds into the bottom right-hand corners tile that is the facilities management system with IBM Maximo and Forge as a graphical interface. And I couldn't resist bragging about this, but this project won us the Building Smart OpenBIM Global Award last year. As I said, everything that we do starts with models. So we've started with models of the existing conditions. We have a rich heritage context. This project covers about 12 hectares on land and about 18 more on the water. And we have 9 different heritage buildings that we needed to integrate into the facility. Then we modeled for coordination as well. So we used the models for trades coordination and design phase. And right now we are in the middle of construction. We make sure that we as-built verify the on-site conditions, making sure that the digital asset that we hand over is in line with the physical asset. We have over 100,000 serviceable items in the facility, so that's quite a big asset portfolio in just this facility. And we tested all the workflows going from the authoring applications that are in case Autodesk Revit and the Graphics of ArchiCAD into IBM Maximo. We've chosen a COBie-based data delivery. If you don't know COBie, I probably don't want to go into the details again. That's Construction Operations Building Information Exchange. It's basically a data schema to help the import into Maximo. And we use the master database in the Rofus. The Rofus is a a database management system for the built environment that can process data from models and push and pull data into models as well, and consolidate all the data to make sure that they are fit for purpose when we get to the operations phase. And once this data and the model gets into IBM Maximo, it can be used for all the good things that you've seen in all the other presentations. It can be mobile device accessible, it can run all your work orders for maintenance tasks, it can have maintenance schedules, and can have a cloud-based viewer as well, so that an FM operator can actually jump into the model and see again the context around the asset that needs maintenance. And the next project that I wanted to tell you about is a somewhat smaller project. Is the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal. It's probably 1/20th of the scale of the other job, but it was still a very interesting case study for us, where we helped the client with the asset handover. Once construction kicked off, this was a heavily construction focused job for us. Once construction kicked off, we were on site taking photos and comparing them to the model, and then we got a little bit more accurate about as-built verification, and took laser scanners on site and have done a comprehensive laser scan of the entire facility, and that resulting point cloud has been compared to the models that can provide a heat map style, again, visual report from the model of how far the actual construction is from the coordinated design that we had in a model. And once that was done, we captured the commissioning data and extracted a database or data drop from the model that actually went into the FM system that in this case was a Technology One system for the Port of Brisbane. And we made sure that all the assets on site are also tagged in line with the model. So if I look at the model, click on an element and see a tag, it will correspond with on the top right corner you see a switchboard and an asset tag on that switchboard. That is the exact same tag that you will see in the model database to ensure consistency. And then once we do these two basic things, basically consolidate the data, make sure that it is tagged on site according to the original design, as well as built verify the design. We can then use those resulting models for various other model-based tasks that can include various visualization tasks that are very popular, and I thought I show a few so that you can relate to that even if you're not that close to a BIM-based delivery. It's fairly common to use model-based environments nowadays in sort of a gamified fashion. For example, virtual inductions. If you have a very tricky site, and we have a couple, then you might not want to, let's say it's an airport, you might not want to onboard someone new in the team and make him drive the tarmac when the airport is in operation. It's easier to do the inductions virtually and less risky to do the inductions virtually, and it's quite common in airports. It's also quite common in mine sites, and I have an example of a mine induction video that we created based on a model that we delivered. It is critical for the health and safety aspects of the project, and as you can imagine, a mine site like mining, is pretty big in Australia, and we have some mine sites where a shutdown, where some maintenance task needs to be done on site. A shutdown costs like $20 million a day. So it's whatever we can do to prepare very well for that shutdown saves a lot of money. And this is one of the things when we do virtual inductions to lift something heavy on that mine site, then that can help us to reduce risk and save some money for the client. And I think that was all that I wanted to share with you today. I would be very happy to receive questions if you have any, and thanks for your attention.